Good? Okay, welcome. I was taught is okay because it means you're thinking through things, not just saying whatever you thought, which is usually my problem. I'm Kenn Edwards. I go by the title of Rune Walker. That is not a historical title. It's one that I gave myself because it most fit and didn't box me in. I can make it whatever I want. So, how this works for me, I thought it would be good for us to just kind of chat in the beginning and lay down some guidelines. If you have a question at any point, please just let me know. I'd rather us deal in that topic while we're in the middle of it than jumping around. And there's so many of you to keep track of it. Please keep the applause down, and also please, just raise your hand. We use the word shaman because we most understand that word and what it means. And so my lineage comes through the Northern Tradition Shamanism Guild, centered in Norse and Anglo-Saxon, as well as some of my elders actually work in Siberian or Eurasian shamanisms. Now, the purpose of a shaman within any community, is really to bridge the gap between the seen and the unseen, to go into other worlds and bring back wisdom, bring back knowledge, jokes, whatever little things might need, or to negotiate on behalf of the people of their tribe, clan, culture. So, the reason I'm talking about this initially is because in January, like January 4th or something, hey, would you like to do a presentation and do a ritual at Beltane? Well, that's 5 months away. So part of my process is sitting down and saying, we need to time travel, folks, on the other side, and say, what is it that would be good for the people who are going to attend or watch later to hear at the time they're going to hear it? What would be most effective? What would be most helpful? And so sometimes I'll use a multitude of different divination systems, but as the name says, Rune Walker, runes are my connection. They're the language that I'm probably most closely connect with in terms of translating energy from the other, and energy in this existence, too, this physical world. So I sit down to do this, and I'm going to get into a state. Well, let me pause. Do you have any questions about anything I've said so far? Because that's a whole topic in and of itself. But I feel like it's good to have you have that little bit of like background as to, yeah, because I also think that I did a presentation called Fire into Ice. Yeah. Last Beltane or last? Yeah. So, yeah. And so fire and ice are they're key concepts in the Northern tradition because it's the creation story, creation myth. And so people are like, didn't you do that already? No, because it's a whole different ball game as to which runes, when I asked, actually show up and want to show up as beings, not just things that I pull out of my bag and toss around, but actually the respectful relationship between myself and that energy, those energies. So, no questions, right? All right. The runes that my slideshow presentation that those of you who are watching from home after will get a hyperlink to. Those of you here just get to see my artwork, which is why I have Sharpies too. So there were 3 runes that came out initially. Are any of you familiar with the runes of Northern Europe? A little bit? Yeah. All right. So the first one that came out, we'll do it this way, is Rido. The second one that came out is Year. I'll show you in just a moment. The last one that came out was Wunyo. So for those of you who can see this and who are here, these are the runes that come out. So it's almost like forming a sentence, right? Or a paragraph. So, okay. Rido, Sleipnir, Odin's horse, forward movement, traveling between worlds, okay? So forward movement. Year is one that, if you don't know the Anglo-Saxon Futhorc, is new. Year is mastery. It's the bow, the bow hunter, the archer, that's the word. And so it's meant to be about leveling up. When this shows up, has shown up in the past for me with in sessions, it tends to education, school, but not just school, but like you're looking at going back to school, like you're doing some leveling up of your education. Bigger degree, yeah, bachelor's to master's. So this one, yes, so we'll move. Wunyo. Wunyo is a rune of joy and light. Now, it's also, to me, a rune that I most connect with alignment. I will use the word alignment more than joy, because I feel like joy is the end result of being in alignment. Yeah, so we don't have light in this room until we flick that switch and complete the circuit. Same thing. So, journey into self-mastery to find alignment, which is really, like when Rido came out, I was like, okay, yes, everyone's talking about the year of the fire horse. Okay, it's coming. Got it. And so for me, the way my conversations work could be similar to the way some people read tarot or other ways. I ask for more runes to come forward to give me explanation about Rido. So what we have are these runes here, and I will show you in a moment. And I will also explain to you one way that I read or have conversation with them that's slightly different than most other people I know. Not that that makes me special, it's just the way I interpret. Okay. So, this little rune here is Stan. It's one of the Anglo-Saxon. Stan means foundations. Stone, it actually means stone. It can be like the keystone in an arch, is that top middle one that holds all the other stones in place. We also have Uruz, which is a rune of strength, but pushing strength. Also a rune I connect with instinct, which to me sits, we're pausing, 3 centers of knowing, instinct in the lower gut, emotional in the chest, intellectual in the head. Most people will say our brain processes all of them, yes, but I think that there are centers of knowing that we can use differently than our brain, separate from that. So, okay, Rido, foundations for moving forward, but from an instinctual place. Now, if I ask for the runes to come out of the bag, who wants to do this? and I drop them onto my mat. If they're face down, I will stay here. If I drop them, if they're face down, to me, that means they're an undercurrent or a theme that's happening at this time. So it may be something that we don't see, it's an undercurrent. Well, we have Dagaz, which is day, breakthrough, horizon, actually, as well. And then Algiz, which traditionally is looked at as a protection rune. And the question that usually comes up for me in this is, where has your protection become your prison? Which was given to me by a mentor of mine. And it doesn't always show up that way, but I really like it because it does dive deeper than protection. And they all have multiple meanings, just depending on context and who's reading, right? So the undercurrent here is, I have to tell you that story, or else you won't get it. My favorite story to exemplify Algiz is this. A deer is walking along a hillside. It senses danger. It sits down in the brush. If it never gets back up, it will die. We have a fear moment or a scare moment. We put up a wall. We don't think, oh, I don't need that wall anymore. Take it down. Usually it's emotional pain, hurt, trauma, suffering, and we leave it there. So if we want to break through, we're talking about breaking through so that we can get up and move, so that we're not stuck in a place where we're not getting water, where we're not getting food, where we're not getting fed, and we're living in a place of fear. So instinctually, animals are, well, we're animals, but the ones that don't have the capacity to talk like us, they pick up on things a little differently, right? They use more of their instinct, when to fly south, when to migrate up along the elk behind my house during the winter, and then during the summer they go somewhere else. So that part of us we can tap into by spending more time focusing on the instinct, the lower gut, and listening to what it has to say, which means you have to dedicate some time to just sitting. By the way, I'm giving you my definition. Meditation is not clearing my mind of nothing. It's being able to focus my mind and use my attention to focus on one thing, right? It's not about not thinking about anything. That's not going to happen because our brain developed through evolution to manage the complex system that is our body. Not to think. Has nothing to do with thinking. I mean, it does. Well, some people, right? But the idea is that our massive brain, yes, we were able to evolve speech and thought, but it runs however many systems make this body go, which also comes into play when it makes decisions for us that we maybe don't like, when we get stuck sitting in the brush, because all of our files, all of our experiences that the brain is going to pull from when I am in a situation that seems similar to those, have me sitting down and hiding. So the brain takes our modern context plus our history, because its primary job is to keep us alive. Its primary job is to keep this running and keep us going. So we have a little bit that we're up against, right? But it's about creating new experiences as well that will help you break out of this. But you can't do it all at once. So we're looking at the undercurrent of breaking behavioral patterns that keep us protected, right? Which is about creating foundations for you connecting with your instinct. Now, if we were to lock all of these doors, you couldn't get out. There would be no way. So your life is in this room. You will never do anything different. You will never do anything new. And therefore, there is no movement in that. Our lives tend to be like being locked in this room, right? So we get locked in this, and we think that a change of location or a change of, sometimes people actually help, but a change of job, change of relationship, change of all these things are going to change what we do. But the runes are saying, no, your forward movement, which right also can be spiritual ascent. I've read that and I believe that. Is about you creating foundations for moving through this world from a more instinctual place. Your instinct is not to kill most people like you think. Or road rage, all that kind of stuff. It's not the rage, it's not the fear of that coming up. Those are emotional side effects of all of the files that our brain's pulling from. So, if we know that, the first part of our journey today is talking about forward movement, and we know that it's about getting into our instinct and acting from that place, which means we have to break down our walls. Oh, that sounds a lot like, I'm not going to call it shadow work because I hate that term. How about we call it self-mastery, which is the second rune. So, any questions on any of this up to this point? Everyone's good? On board? Okay, we're still on track, but perfect. So, now, this is the hard part. Because I said, okay, how runes, which ones of you want to come forward? And let's talk about how we're going to do this. And 3 came forward. We talked about spiritual ascent being righto. Well, Hagalaz is basically spiritual descent. Going into, Hagalaz is one of the runes of Hell, or Hela. Hagalaz is a rune of hail, Hail. So we have experienced that a little bit already today outside. But it's shadow work. So, I hate that word. So, the Hell Road, which is what I think I spoke about, Samhain, yep. So the Hell Road is a place where we it's how to get from Asgard or Midgard to Helheim. It's sharp, it's dangerous, it's cold, there's a lot of fog, a lot of times you can't see where you're going. So that's a really great descriptor for shadow work, for going inside, right? And having to function with something other than your eyes. There are a lot of times when I'm speaking this way, or if I'm in a one-on-one session, where I just close my eyes completely because that input is so distracting. And so if you're somewhat neurospicy, my version of it, yeah, my desk faces a wall of books. If they were arranged according to color, I would be fine, but they're not. So I had to put curtains over them. So there weren't a whole bunch of little things to look at. I couldn't do it. It took me a long time to figure that out. So the distraction of our seeing, which is, what do we say? Seeing is believing, right? So you have to kind of eject that bullshit from the spaceship as you take off. Get rid of it, because instinct is a feeling. Instinct is a hunch. Instinct is, I just need to move that way. I don't know why, but I'm just going to move to the side just a little bit. I'm going to move over just a little bit. I don't know what's coming, or I feel like I just need to, it's that kind of listening. So one of the ways to self-mastery, according to the runes for you for today, some Hagalaz work. I'm going to call it Hell Road work. That's better than shadow work. The next rune is Tewaz. Looks like an arrow pointing up. Tewaz is a rune of truth, justice. It's a rune connected to Tyr, the god Tyr, who's a god of war. But in the time of bring your soldiers at 5 o'clock next Tuesday, and we'll do it out here on the right, and everyone comes together, and it was very contractual. We couldn't afford to lose whole swaths of people. They couldn't. So often it would come down to, it's a very disciplined thing. It's not the berserker warrior energy, it's disciplined. This also connects to the North Star. So, how many of you can navigate by the stars? Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Also, with the level of light pollution, if you live in the city, it becomes very difficult because it's not something that you experience. Because even if you went outside and looked up every night, you might not physically be saying, okay, that one's there, and that one's there, and that one's there. It just looks familiar. Has anyone been in the Southern Hemisphere? You looked up, and? It
was not the same.
It was weird. It was almost weird.
I lived there for 4 years. Yeah.
When you flush and it goes the other way is weirder. But looking up and the stars are different, it's a little disconcerting because I'm used to seeing them the way they are here. So the North Star and Tewaz have to do with your own compass. So if you put a magnet or a couple magnets around the compass, the needle will spin because it's meant to pull to north, magnetic north. Sometimes those magnets can be people, ideas that we were raised with. They can be a whole plethora of things that pull us out of our own compass being useful. Now, I was just reading about how animals navigate and how they know when to go south or when to go north. And it's a plethora of ways, by the shadow, by the sun, by the gravitational pull, by like all these other things. So, but they're reacting to the environment around them, and we kind of do the same, but maybe in a not so directional way, because we tend to try and fit in. And one size fits all. And, oh, that worked for somebody, so this should work for you. That was one of my slides. Damn it. My purpose that I give myself is to introduce you to yourself, to help you, anybody, because I still go through it. There's no finish line. We're always changing. We're always evolving. Your body's changing and evolving. And so how well do we access our instinct, our emotion, our intellect, to use them in combination and in concert? So my job, I feel, is to present things that help people get to know themselves so that we are more in touch with our instinct, we are more in touch with our emotions, and your intellect gets calmed down a bit. It thinks it literally knows everything. Sorry about that joke. So your inner compass, again, feels like this. right? It's very quiet. It's that, oh, I really, really want to learn underbarter basket weaving. I don't know why, but I do. I feel pulled. We use that word. I feel pulled. I feel inspired to. I feel moved to do X, Y, Z, right? So we have these ideas about, we have words that kind of describe being pulled in the right direction. So that's where Tewaz comes in with finding your compass. So, which also plays back into Hagalaz, because if it's foggy and you have to go internal, what does your compass say? Because you'll get out of the fog no matter what. It just depends on which way you feel pulled to go, right? Now, excuse me. Othala, or Otila, is the last one for this center section. It is ancestral home. It is ancestral land. It can be one of the ones that really does connect to family. Or Manaz is community, but I feel like, go with me for a sec. We live in a community where the central part of the community lives within a wall. But then there's outside community beyond that. But then even within the wall, like we each have our own little house. So the people that live near me, maybe not blood, might be your closest family. I feel like Othala can be that as well, not just community, which is a little different concept. So, Othala also has so many meanings. Let me give you this one first. Kenaz is like a less than sign. Yes. If you turn it, Othala is made of three of them. Your intellect, your emotion, and your instinct. Kenaz is your inner fire, your inner knowing. It's like, it's your compass. It's your instinct. It's your hearth. It's where you stay warm and get fed and you protect that fire. It's a sacred fire. It's not one you throw tires into or sagebrush into. You don't pee in it for sure, like Boy Scouts. Because you learn that as well in Boy Scouts. Yeah. It smells horribly. So with this also, back to my little example, it can be the people inside of your container. Like the walled town or the walled fort is your container, okay? So, going inside, finding your compass, finding your true north, making sure your compass is working and you're not being pulled. Othala is about creating a container. And what I mean by that is this. Boundaries are great, but most people say, oh my God, you're bugging me. I have to boundary you. Like, I'm putting up a boundary, so you can't call me. You can call me after 10. But we use it so we're weaponizing boundaries. Here's where I think my next book is coming from. One of them. It's about creating a container that are boundaries, that are the guidelines for how I'm going to live my life, staying instinctual and having my compass work. That might mean that you need a lot more alone time. That might mean that you need to be around people less. I don't think necessarily I'm an extrovert because it's a mask. It's not who I am. If I had not had to mask and become an extrovert to survive in small town Utah growing up, I wouldn't have. I would have been a little bit more introverted. So what does the container, what do the guidelines look like, right? Like I'm going to make sure that, and by the way, these will change. Don't, because once you do it enough times that your brain knows it's coming, you don't get the benefit. So you kind of got to kind of keep changing it up. I know I have to put up curtains over my bookshelf or I can't focus. And if I'm sitting at my computer, which is already, you all know this, who have this, 160 tabs open in one window, and then you actually have another window behind that, which is a whole different other thing. So how do I work with that? How do I work with my energy coming to an event like this? Well, I didn't do a very good job. Although I'm having fun, I did not do a very good job of like giving myself a week prior of quiet. I'm packed on Thursday, or at least I know everything I'm taking. That all happened last night between 10 and midnight. So back to algaes and the patterns that we get into, that's one of my patterns. All of a sudden, I have 1,400 things to do this week, and they're all public-facing things, and I don't have an assistant, and I'm not married, so no one's helping me. Some of the things that we do are because we were still in that little walled space. But if I really want self-mastery, I'm going to have to give myself... But none of you have been to a class of mine before, have you? You have. In the back. I love to look words up. I love definitions because usually we have a slightly weird version of what the word means. So my favorite part of this is it takes some self-discipline. I don't love that word because if you look up self-discipline, it actually doesn't mean that they don't take discipline and then just apply it to self. They actually soften it. Because discipline means you do something. If you don't do something, you will have a result. Usually consequences, right? But I read in fact, I wrote it on a Post-it and stuck it on my wall behind the curtains. Self-discipline isn't an act of like hatred. It's actually, I knew I was gonna forget. It's an act of love and putting yourself first. Which, do all of you put yourselves first? No, sometimes. Yep. Sometimes when there's no one else to be first in line. Yeah. Yes. That's the one. Yeah. No one else is needing me, so I can give myself time. I'm gonna call us all out for just a second. How many of you think a shower is self-care? How many of you think brushing your teeth is self-care? How many of you think, I don't know, getting to bed on time is self-care? Yeah, I want us to all go back to say, reevaluate that, because those are the things that are normal, that you should be normally doing. It is not self-care, it is standard. We should be doing those things. That's not self-care because I'm giving myself extra time to take care of myself. That's just the basic shit. But it's bare minimum. Yeah. So anytime you think about that, you're like, oh, I'm doing self-care today. Are you? I'm not judging and I'm not calling out. I'm just saying, let's do a little self-mastery of, am I just telling myself that? So I can like, when I report back into my therapist this week, I can say I did 5 hours of self-care because I got 5 hours of sleep, right? Which is true, because we all don't want to fail the therapist report card. None of us do. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Because they hold my sanity in their hands. If they think I'm not sane, we're fucked. Okay. So, any questions about any of those runes or anything within that self-mastery concept? Okay. I will say this. Because year is the rune of the archer, it's not about knowing how to pull back and shoot the bow. It's about knowing which tree to harvest the wood from, how to harvest the wood, how to build the bow, how to get the sinew, how to make a sinew, how to make the arrows, how to do all of it. And it's about becoming one with that. It's an intimate relationship between you and the bow and the arrow. And then it's polyamory. Maybe, yeah. Because then you are in relationship with the wind. How fast is it? How slow is it? How cold is it? How far away is my target? It's about being able to hit the target in one shot, not wasting resources. It's about being able to use everything in the kill because we don't waste. So it's more than just being able to shoot the bow, right? It's the whole thing. That's where I can say my extrovertedness is a mask now. I wouldn't have said that before, but I've done a lot of hell road work, in the last 15, 20 years because of the runes, because of their questions, because of the conversations, because of the ideas. So, Wunyo. Wunyo, what was it a rune of? Remember? I know, you were like, I wasn't.
It was joy, but
Alignment.
Okay, perfect. Joy, alignment, light. So, under the last rune, Wunyo, 3 runes came out. We've talked about these runes, 2 of them. Kenaz. Kenaz is the rune of inner fire, inner knowing. Kenaz is the one, if you turn it, right, becomes Othala. Ansu's is the second one. It's a rune mostly of clearing, but it can be a rune of air. If people are calling in the 4 elements, it's the one that's used for air. Kenaz is used for fire. So for me, mostly it's clearing, and usually through wind. Then the last one is Isa. So to find our joy or our alignment, we must focus on our own fire. Now, if I'm doing a bigger workshop, because this is how I see it, I would have, which was not on my slideshow, so I thank God. 9 stones in a picture or in a workbook or something around what looks like a fire. And I would say we need to start by finding the 9 sacred. 9 is sacred in my tradition. The 9 things that are your core values that influence how you interact with the world. I don't even like the world of like the words like walking forward or walk my path. As much as how am I going to interact with the things around me? Because stillness, you can get much more out of stillness than you can out of walking. So, Kenaz. Those 9 stones, or those 9 concepts, if you've ever done like a values exercise where you have to take the 400 words and find the 10 that you feel like are the best. First time I did it, I immediately met someone who embodied all of those, and I realized I hated that. I was like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be with that person. I don't want to be that. Like, that is everything I said was nope. Which was interesting because I didn't know I had that filter of, oh, I want to be accepted in the spiritual community, and we value flow and love and blah, 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 right? Like all the kitsch words and all those things that the woo. It is the woo. Yes. So, in that, we then come up with your mission statement. I'm going to interact with things in my life from a perspective of exploration, of intrigue, of respect, like those different types of things that you can kind of come into this thing. So it's not really about the mission statement that you put on your website. It is actually, how do you live? The title of today, the second part of the title, is self-mastery. Mastering your life requires living it. And so it's great to sit here, and I have this beautiful mission statement that AI did for me, and but I don't live it. I actually don't come into space and say, "Hey, how's it going?" I don't look at the rain as a blessing, which we live in the fucking desert. You should, yeah. And so it'd be like, oh, the rained today, and it was supposed to be sunny and bright. Well, yeah, but like, also we need water because we didn't get any snow. So the idea that how are you going to interact with life? And you know what? Some days are just shitty, and they just are, and that's okay. What are you going to do? How are you? If you know it's shitty for you, you're going to take everyone else down with you, or are you going to be like, I think I'm calling out today. Today's we have them now, mental health days, right? So it's about knowing enough about yourself to go, I need to not today. And that's an important thing to do. And it's important to know when you're like, man, I think today, I just don't want to do it. It's a not day. No. Sometimes we have to force ourselves to do some things. But there's a true not day, because you all work with these people. I know you do. We all do. Man, they called out again. Having a mental health day again. You're causing my mental health, and they take advantage of the situation. And so it lightens and it lessens the impact when we actually do need those. So I can actually say, that's not going to my favorite. Other people's opinion is none of my concern, right? That's the proactive way. The not so proactive way, the reactive way of saying that is, I don't fucking care. Because we all do it too. Because it's never like, I don't fucking care. It's like, I don't fucking care. And we, even the words they bite, and they're like, and I'm putting up a boundary. You watch that. I don't fucking care. Like, I immediately push someone back with my words and my breath, which is also wind in here in Ansu's. So, sidetrack and tangent. Check. Okay, so back here, Kenaz. When you have this ring of stones, can I pick on you, Boy Scout? Okay, what happens if you don't have the ring of stones?
You leak your fire.
Yeah, the fire, it's not contained, right?
Right.
It'll spread. It's also not as hot.
Yeah.
Because it's not contained. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well done. People are getting nervous when I ask questions. People get nervous if I walk next to them. Look at that guy. So you can't contain your fire. Most of us run around. We pretend that I have nothing against the Mormons. I was one for a very long time, but those stones that the Mormons used didn't fit for me. They didn't hold my fire. It actually didn't even encourage growth of my fire. I couldn't cook from that fire. I couldn't get warm from that fire. I couldn't see from that fire. The stories told at that fire weren't my stories. So it's very much about what is your alignment, right? And none of those 9 stones can be figured out. I met somebody who was exactly like that, and I hated them, right? I wouldn't have known had I not said, these are my things that are important to me. I meet you, fuck no. It didn't work. So without living and deciding and making those decisions, it wasn't going to work. I wouldn't have known that putting them to the test, they just crumbled. So, knowing instinctually, being more connected to our instinct, our emotion, finding where my compass is going, practicing using my intuition and my instinct in the dark, right, or in the fog, and building a container around how do I even just need to live? I'm going to give you one small example. Why are you talking to me? I've only been up for an hour and I haven't had coffee yet. Why are you talking to me? Why are you saying shit to me right now? We've been married for how long and you know this is not how it goes? Well, yeah, but I figured you figured wrong, which is why we're divorced. But something's as simple as that. Like, I know not to schedule. This is also full moon. I try not to schedule things very early on those days, 3 or 4 days right around the full moon, because even if the blacked out curtains are on, I'm still up. I'm pulled by the moon. It took me years and years to figure out, I'm like, why am I still up? Full moon. So even simple things like that, we don't know that that's what's happening. We don't know that those are our things. So creating the container around instinct and compass, how do I keep my compass working? How do I keep connected to my instinct, which, by the way, is your body. So if you have disconnected from your body at all, welcome to your journey to reconnect with your body and to love your body and to listen to your body. That's where all of these algae's traumas are held. So now we have our Kenaz in our nice little hearth, ring of hearthstones. Oh, wow, okay. So because this was done 6 months ago, a lot of times, who's this for? You have to say something for other dominoes to fall, right? Okay, so here's where I just had a whole bunch of dominoes fall. Onsu's is about wind, about clearing. So we're going to keep things clear around the fire. Please don't pee in my fire. Please don't put tires in my fire, which is why self-care is not just toothbrushing your teeth, right? So, but it's also, have you ever built a fire? I won't pick on you anymore. Built a fire?
Yes.
How do you get the fire going?
With kindling and some sort of fuel source and something to actually start the fire.
But also blowing on it.
Yes. Right? Yep. So, this is another reason we were divorced. Air sign, I'm a fire sign. You have to get the right air sign, right? You have to have the right wind. You have to have the right momentum. And wind can even be messages from the gods and inspiration in that way. So feeding the fire and fanning the fire. Blacksmith. Kenaz also connects to blacksmithing, by the way. And they use the giant, thank you, billows, the thing, to get the fire really hot. So protecting your fire from things that will blow it out, but also using the right things to stoke the fire. with Ansus. Now, Isa is ice, but it's also in the winter. If you live in the north, in the Great North, I don't know, Great North, not so Great North, whatever. When rivers freeze, it actually creates a bridge. So ice creates a bridge for movement. So crazy. I'm sorry. That's great. How did that go? You're alive. That's great. Ice road truckers. Oh, Jesus. Okay. You're praying to the ice gods at that point. Yes. Yeah. Well, so that's the other thing, right? There's a Scottish phrase, a fox trusts not its feet to the ice or snow or something, which is kind of saying if you don't see animal tracks across the ice, don't go. Don't walk across it, right? Because even the animals won't do it. Ice. Isa. Isa is also about stillness. Ice, cold. I use Isa. That was the wrong phrase. I have partnered with that rune to center myself. So here, in fact, I have a current mantra of mine. My fire, my compass, my stillness are protected from distracting energies and influences without barriers for unlimited growth, expansion. So going back to the boundaries, if you're taking up as much space as you need to, thank you, then you don't need a boundary, because really when we're not taking up as much space as we can take up and there's empty space, that's when people come in. So I think we can review how we look at boundaries. Anyway, so when you have your fire and you know how to stoke it and not put it out, there is a centeredness and a stillness that doesn't happen when our compass is being pulled by other people, when we're only listening to our brain, when we're not paying attention to our instinct. So protect your peace. I just want to put PEAS because I feel like, again, protect your peace is, I'm going to be mean for a second. None of us fucking know what our peace is. We're just using it as again, we're weaponizing, protect your peace, keep those bitches out. What they didn't do anything to you. It doesn't matter, right? My fire, my compass, my stillness are protected from distracting energies and influences without barriers for unlimited expansion. So, because sometimes if we put the wall up, like in this one, that's what keeps us from growing. So I'm a little leery about putting boundaries between me and anyone, because really, if I'm building my container that says, I'm spending a lot of time not around certain people, I don't know. I'm paying attention to my instinct and what my body tells me about the person, not the thing that says, no, go hug them. You have to be nice to them. We have to respect and love and trust everybody. My body says very different, but you're not taught to do that. So a lot of things to get to stillness. Now, ice into fire is just backing that up a little bit. Stillness wraps back around to keeping your fire contained, hot, ready to go, but then also is how you move forward and live a life that is really aligned for you, because we're all different. Everyone's different. Everyone's alignment's different. I need different sleep at 51 than I did before. All that stuff is very different. So the stillness, you have to work through this to get to stillness, and then it kind of keeps going back, right? Then it's just keeping it aligned, and sometimes as we get older, our container changes, or our goals in life change, so we can make adjustments to our container so that we then keep focused on that. It's not about keeping people out, it's keeping us focused on what we're doing. So, questions, ideas, concepts, stories to share. Yeah. Hold on. We need a microphone. I'll give you this.
All right. Everything you've been talking about with boundaries just comes back to me what I was taught boundaries were supposed to be in the first place, which is how you are choosing to act and like the choices you make, not telling someone else what they can't do, but just if you do that, I don't want to be around that. I'm going to move myself or I'm going to change course. And I mean, that's what it should be, but I guess boundaries mean a different thing now that people have latched onto putting up that wall, you know? But that was my thought.
They've also latched on to how many views and likes did my post get? Right? Even if you're, I fucking forgot all that bullshit because I was like, I can't be me and I can't produce the content and the things I want to if I'm doing it based upon, if my criteria, if my container for that has anything to do with how many likes or views I got. I can't. It ruins, it actually puts out the fire. There's nothing worse than like, remember I talked about pissing on the fire? It's worse. It's gross. So if the container is good, you know, you can keep adjusting it that way. So thank you for adding that. And I appreciate you all for coming across thank God Moses parted the sea so we could get across the deluge parking lot. And for hanging out, till 6:30 with me tonight. So I do appreciate you. I appreciate you putting all this together. Thank you for the tech. And you can find me runewalker.com. I also have it's linked on all of the socials. Please like it because I actually look at. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Thank you very much.